Parts of northern Luzon are left submerged in floodwaters after the onslaught of severe tropical storm Maring. 3 siblings were killed by a landslide brought about by the tropical storm. Homes were also buried in La Trinidad, Benguet. Metro Manila mayors are calling on LGUs to temporarily close down cemeteries for All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day. In politics, the Lakas CMD party denies fielding placeholders for the top 2 posts in the upcoming 2022 elections. And in lighter news, a team of scientists simulate living on the red planet in a rocky desert in Israel. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's a roundup of stories we're watching now. I'm Sean Yao. The NDRRMC is still on top of the situation in several areas that were hit by severe tropical storm Maring. Let's get the latest from NDRRMC spokesperson Mark Timbal, who joins us now over the phone. Good evening, Mark. How many people have been confirmed dead, injured, and missing due to Maring?
Good evening, Ms. Sean. So far here at the continuing of monitoring and operations coordination at the NDRRMC Operations Center, we have not yet published a confirmed listing of casualties. What we're just doing is we're acknowledging the reported casualties that are still undergoing validation. As of this evening's reporting, we have received information that we lost 11 people to Maring. We have 3 injured persons and 7 missing persons. Majority of these casualties, the fatalities, were figured in the landslide incidents in the Cordilleras, as well as those who were drowned in the flash flood incident in Palawan. Part of our updates this evening included information on the number of affected persons. We received a count of 19,147 persons getting affected by the storm. We have evacuated 3,221 persons, and they're staying in 23 evacuation centers as of this point. We also received information that 3,346 persons opted not to stay in evacuation centers after being evacuated, but preferred staying with their relatives in safer locations. These are from Region 2, Mimaropa, Caraga, and the Cordilleras, Mission.
Right. So having said all of that, and still no final count, of course, for all the casualties, those missing and injured, are there still any ongoing search and rescue operations and evacuation efforts as of now?
We are seeing that in the report of our counterparts in Region 2, they say that since weather is already improving, a number of people have already been released from the evacuation centers. But we're still waiting for updates in the search and rescue operations that are being done in the Cordilleras, as well as in Region 1, where we have been monitoring and assisting those who are affected by the flooding situations, flooding incidents in Narvacan, in Ilocos Sur, as well as in some areas in La Union. We have deployed additional search and rescue teams from the Regional Disaster Council for Ilocos region to support the local DRRM officers and rescue teams in those affected areas.
Right. Mark, we were wondering, a lot of people always post on social media to ask for help for themselves or for their friends or relatives. Is the NDRRMC on top of these? I remember very clearly the Rescue PH hashtag. Do you guys, out of curiosity, monitor these?
Actually, it's part of our monitoring, Ms. Sean. Since last night, we have been coordinating the rescue effort for those persons who have posted messages asking for rescue support or rescue services. We have informed the local governments as well as the regional disaster councils that have jurisdiction over those areas. and we're happy to report that these calls for assistance had been actioned already by our counterparts.
Right. Very good to hear that at least, at the very least, people can reach you guys or any authorities through social medias. Now back to the onslaught of Maring. How many families have been affected so far? You did mention, of course, which regions were hardest hit by the rains and the winds, but do we have any idea in general how many people have been affected?
That's correct. So far in our counting, we have received information of 4,528 families, or roughly translating to 19,147 persons who were affected by this storm coming from Region 2, from the Cordilleras, the Mimaropa and Caraga in Mindanao. If you notice that there were some of these regions did not fall within the storm warning signals, but because of the monsoon that has been enhanced by Storm Maring, lots of these communities encountered heavy rainfall in the last few days.
All right. What about when we speak about damage to agriculture and infrastructure? Do you guys have early numbers so far?
So far, the assessment for damages continue. What we have received is information coming from our counterparts in the Department of Agriculture. The Cordilleras assessment for agricultural damage already yielded more than 27 million, if I'm not mistaken, 27 million pesos worth of damages to high-value crops as well as corn. We have seen the reports of the strawberry fields and other vegetable farms getting inundated because of the floods that were encountered in those areas.
All right, thank you so much, as usual, for giving us those updates. Stay safe, please. NDRRMC spokesperson Mark Timbal over the phone. Thank you, sir. On to the weather still. We have severe tropical storm Maring moving faster over the West Philippine Sea. Pag-asa last spotted its center some 505 kilometers off the coast of Calayan in Cagayan. Maring has exited the Philippine area of responsibility at 11 a.m. today and continues to move westward. However, tropical wind cyclone signal number 2 is still up over Batanes and the Babuyan Islands. Pag-asa warns that strong winds could still result to light to moderate damage to structures and vegetation. The areas being flashed on your screens at present are all under signal number 1. And parts of Benguet have been left submerged in floodwaters after severe tropical storm Maring ravaged northern Luzon. In La Trinidad, 3 siblings died after being buried by a landslide. Let's check in on the situation there from Romel Lopez. He joins us over the phone from the City of Pines. Romel, how are residents holding up over there?
Yes, Sean, many of the residents that we have talked to didn't expect that the effect of severe tropical storm Maring will be this devastating. At least 4 people died following the onslaught of Maring in the province of Benguet and in the city of Baguio. 3 of these casualties were siblings. One was 8 years old, the other was 6, and the youngest was 2 years old. They were buried alive after a landslide hit their home in Barangay Ambiong in La Trinidad while they were having dinner. Their parents are now appealing for financial help after surviving the landslide. Even the famous strawberry farm in Benguet was not spared by Maring. The tourist destination is now covered in mud. The local government of La Trinidad vows to provide aid in affected families in the municipality. 1 person died in Barangay Dominican Mirador after a house was buried in a landslide. Search and rescue operations continue for the 2 other missing persons who are both children as well. Baguio City continues to experience moderate to heavy rains as of this evening. Local rescue units are still on standby for any eventuality, Sean.
All right, thank you so much, Romel, and stay safe up north. That was Romel Lopez of News 5 over the phone. Thanks, Roms. In COVID news, the Health Department reported 8,600 new COVID-19 cases on Tuesday. 82,200 of the 2.68 million total caseload are still active. The DOH says the relatively low number of cases today is because of lower testing laboratory output last Sunday. 236 more people died of the virus in the last 24 hours, bringing the death toll to almost 39,900. 120 cases initially labeled as recoveries have been reclassified as deaths. Having said that, total recoveries are now at 2.56 million, with 25,100 new survivors overnight. 15.5% of the 34,100 COVID-19 tests conducted for today's bulletin yielded positive results. One former COMELEC commissioner is calling for a review of the entire election code amid the strategy of political parties to field placeholder candidates. Marian Enriquez with the story.
The Lakas CMD party denies that it only fielded placeholders for the 2022 elections, saying both of their candidates for president and vice president are qualified for the posts. On the last day of COC filing last October 8, the party submitted the candidacy of Ana Capella Velasco for president and Lyle Fernando Uy for vice president.
If you ask about her qualification, he's more than qualified to run because he's even a college graduate. Imagine mo, can read and write. Hindi man sinabi can think.
Surigao Congressman and Lakas CMD Secretary General Prospero Pichay Jr. says it was the party's decision to let them run for the two highest positions in the land. However, he notes that party chair and former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo did not know about the move. Despite this, Lakas CMD says it is open to replacing its standard bearer if Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte reconsiders running for president before COMELEC's deadline for substitution on November 15.
I will not discount the possibility that we have some plans, no? Definitely, even the other parties, they also have plans. As I told you, all the parties are actually playing games, no? Because of this substitution.
But it is not only the Lakas CMD that seems to be on a waiting game for the presidential daughter. Senator Bato de la Rosa, standard bearer of PDP Laban Kusuwing, reiterates on 1PH Wagpo that he is willing to give way to the Davao City Mayor.
Alam natin. So, sana tanggapin niya. But if not, kung hindi niya tatanggapin, then papapasubo ko nito. Talagang I'm in for a one big fight. Pasubo na. I am in for a one big fight. And hindi ako atras.
One House leader believes that the idea of substitution is a form of manipulation and mockery of the election process. Deputy Speaker Rufus Rodriguez is pushing for an almost absolute ban on the substitution option for candidates. His proposal also requires both national and local incumbent officials to either resign or be deemed automatically resigned once they submit their candidacies. With this, placeholder candidates will think twice about agreeing. He says that updates on the election code are long overdue.
It's high time really to revisit the entire election law. Yung concept, no? Hindi yung patsi-patsi ang tinitingnan natin. Okay, substitution.
For News 5, Marian Enriquez, we are One News.
In lighter news, 6 scientists have simulated life on Mars in a rocky desert in Israel. The Austrian Space Forum set up a mock Martian base in Ramon crater to approximate what it's like to live on the red planet. The astronauts will live in the Amity 20 habitat for 1 month, where they will sleep, eat, and conduct experiments. They will also be in spacesuits, even if they're still technically on Earth. The team hopes that the project will help bring new insights for the first manned mission to Mars. Let's take a quick look at today's other top stories. Curfew hours in Metro Manila will be shortened to 12 midnight until 4 a.m. starting tomorrow. NCR mayors have also agreed to temporarily close cemeteries and columbariums from October 29 to November 2 to avoid overcrowding. The Ombudsman has decided that there was no graft in the 120 million advertisement deal between the Tourism Department and PTV. With this, former Tourism Chief Juan Dateo, her brother Ben Tulfo, and PTV officials have all been absolved of any charges. Recall that the Commission on Audit, or COA, flagged this deal for incomplete documents and conflict of interest. And transport groups are asking for a fare hike as another big-time oil price increase takes effect today. Gasoline is up by 1 peso and 30 centavos per liter, diesel by 1 peso and 50 centavos, and kerosene by 1 peso and 45 centavos a liter. Clean fuel, Petrogas, Pilipinas Shell, and Sea Oil all announced the price hike on Monday. For more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. Masks on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. I am Sean Yao. We are One News.